today's talk with a few quotes. So I'm going to read them right now. I have insurmountable faith in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life, since God's infinite intelligence is in control. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and sound mind. With man, this is impossible. With God, all things are possible. God meant it for good, and all things work together for good to them that love God. So pretty big statements, would you say?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's wake you up here. Well, let me say them again and give you where they came from, tell you the source of where I found them. I have insurmountable faith in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life, since God's infinite intelligence is in absolute control. That is from New Thought writer Catherine Ponder. And then, for God hath not, listen to that not, God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind. That's from Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7. With man, this is impossible. With God, all things are possible. That's from Matthew. God meant it for good, and that's from Genesis. All things work together for good to them that love God, and that's from Romans. So these statements all are weaving together right now to form the basis for our work today. And so the theme for the whole month has been planting seeds. So this is the second in our series, planting seeds, thought seeds. Seeds of thought, seeds of ideas, seeds of feelings, seeds of words, seeds of actions that will support the harvest, the bursting forth of a fuller, freer, more glorious expression of a new humanity. And each and every one of us is a part of this planting of this seeds, of this humanity, of this free and new way of being. We're all part of this collective consciousness that right now is in the middle of a major shift. And that shift is, it's going to be what it's going to be because let it be, as the song said, how perfect was that? Let it be. But we ourselves can take personal responsibility by planting seeds that serve humanity, that serve first ourselves. Then that spills over. If you remember last week, we keep filling ourselves up till it overflows, and then naturally it must affect everyone around us, and that affects the energy, we're all energy beings of this entire planet. So today we're going to plant seeds specifically of faith. Faith. A faith that fulfills the promise of a harvest. Because remember, we're planting seeds. They come into experience in our lives as a harvest. So our lives are harvests of all the thoughts we've ever planted. So we're going to consciously start planting seeds. And today is the seed of faith. A faith that assures the outcome. And you might say, a faith in what? Faith in what? Faith, because we have faith in a lot of things. We have faith in a lot of things. We have faith that the present condition will never change. We have faith that the diagnosis is permanent. We have faith that things aren't going to work out. We have faith that we're never going to get out of debt. And it goes on and on and on. And we have faith, don't we? We have faith in that. But I'm talking about a faith in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. And that direct statement right there comes from What We Believe by Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science. Scripture tells us that God has not given us the spirit of fear. That's not what God gave us. God did not give us the spirit of fear. But the question is, where have we taken it from? Where does it come from? When we come up against challenging circumstances, though, wherever it comes from, because we know it comes from some core beliefs that were planted many, many, many years ago, perhaps other lifetimes ago, but I only deal in this lifetime because I can't remember the other ones. So, but this one was enough. Isn't it enough? Why do we have to keep, going back and regressing into other lifetimes? Because there's enough going on in this lifetime for us to clear up and plant seeds of good that serve us. So sometimes the fear, though, that we all have that dualistic fear and faith kind of thing going, but when that fear really kicks in, it can really affect that nervous system, your nervous system, my nervous system, and it blocks out all good, right?
Yeah.
Anyone ever feel up here? Yeah, that's the fear I'm talking about. And when it takes over our entire nervous system, it really becomes a challenge to get out of that state. So I have a story about a woman who was dreaming about being chased by a bear. And this is a really good analogy. When the bear finally cornered her, she asked in complete terror, "Are you going to kill me? Are you going to kill me?" And the bear very calmly looked at her and said, "I don't know, lady. You tell me. It's your dream." That bear is your fear. Are you going to let it control you? It's your dream. It's your life. The life you are living is your dream. It is your dream. Are you going to live in fear? Remember, it's a choice. I actually heard somebody last night, who's in the room, but I'm not going to say her name, who said something very profound, actually, I thought. Simple but profound. When she wakes up every morning, her mantra is, "I choose." So every morning. So what are you choosing today? You see, we're always at choice. No matter what we think, we're always at choice, always. And so I don't know about your life and the truth about your life, but the truth about your life is that you were not given that whole spirit of fear, as we quoted before. Remember, the power, we were given power. The power that is within you is the power of God. Whatever you want to call this infinite spirit, this divine energy. The love that fills you is the love of God. And the sound mind that is part of your being is the mind of God. Remember, Ernest Holmes says it over and over again. There is but one mind, that is God's mind, that is my mind now. It means we get to use this infinite intelligence, that which is beyond our understanding. Now, I'll tell you something that I found really interesting in researching this scripture. I specifically quoted this one from the King James Version because I like the three things as they were given, which is the power, love, and sound mind. And the interesting thing is in all of the other scriptures, Bibles, and I usually use the Landser, George Landser edition of the Bible, it says power, love, but it doesn't say sound mind. It says control or self-discipline. I just like the idea of sound mind. I heard, one time I heard Mary Marcy speak, and we were studying her in our Prosperity Plus class, and she talked about a pivotal moment in her early spiritual growth, where she had gone to a church and she had heard for the first time, it was a New Thought church, and she heard for the first time, nothing bad happens unless you say it's bad. Unless you say it's bad. And then when something, I love this, when something bad does happen, because life happens and it feels bad sometimes, be honest, she says, wait 3 days, this is what she heard, wait 3 days until you allow the panic in. Wait 3 days, and during those 3 days, this is a real self-discipline, but it really works. Think of what good is coming. Think of what good is involved in what is going on, because really, no matter how bad anything looks like, there is always some good in there. There's always a lesson to be learned if we stay open to it. So she said it was the first time she ever learned that you could actually control and schedule your panic. Because in 3 days, usually it's gone. Because that's what fear does. It comes in, it comes from within, or it looks like it comes from without, and it strikes us, but it really is the part of us that is human. Because that divine part of us only feels the power, only feels the love, only feels the sound mind. That is the truth. And that is always present. That's the place where the good is found. And it's within each and every one of us. So it's about controlling a little bit the fear and choosing a different thought. Looking what's good in this situation. There's something good here. There's something I'm supposed to learn. Okay, I trust, big word, right? Trust in the power for good. I trust in the power for good. And do you suppose that is what Timothy meant when he said, I did not give you the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, so that you don't walk down that road of panic so quickly. You might ease it up a little, might slow it down. It's a gradual thing. We've been operating this way, which is pure instinctive reaction. We've been operating that way for so long in our lives that there is a choice we can make to peacefully and the breathing is involved. Take a couple of really deep breaths and really get into a place of, okay, there's something good taking place here for me. I know that there is something good. My lesson is being learned, and I expect. Let the law know that you expect great good, because you will get it. Emma Curtis Hopkins in Scientific Christian Mental Practice, a book that we are going to be using in Roots class, wrote, people often know the promise passages of the Bible by heart. But when trouble strikes them, they have no confidence in them as absolute truth. Just once, holding on to them when you are in trouble would give you a great start in faith. Holding on to the great principles set forth in Scripture while you are in trouble, she writes, will invigorate your character marvelously. It is the mystery of godliness. How sure people are to come out right who have a strong, honest confidence that they will come out right. And she continues, I have insurmountable faith in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life, since God's infinite intelligence is in absolute control. And that's why I like to say that God has my back. And God has more than that. God has my back, my front, my insides, everything. God is the CEO of my life. Make God the CEO of your life. You choose, but always know that there is a power for good, and that power is for you right here, right now. And that is the truth that I choose to believe in. It's a choice. Believe in it or not, it's up to you. But I tell you what, it serves me, and I know it will serve you. I have insurmountable faith. That's what she says. So then I think about back in March of 2012. Wasn't that long ago, was it? Feels like many lifetimes ago. When I was in a devastating situation, where I had to make a choice and follow my heart's guidance and walk out of my home and a relationship of 42 years with nothing but my little pull-along suitcase and a few dollars in my pocket. Again, though, got in the car and drove off, again, divinely guided, divine guidance, listening to something that was not my left brain. Not my left brain. I was numb, yet terrified at the same time. But the voice within me, that intuitive voice, just kept saying, get in your car and drive. Where, I don't know. Where are you going to stay? I don't know. None of that came into play because the left brain wasn't involved. Just the right brain, which is pure consciousness. So pure consciousness directed. And you step through, I stepped through the fear. And when you step through fear, you come out the other side of it, you've transformed something within yourself, and usually a major core belief if it's terrifying within you. And so I knew that this action and turning my whole life upside down, I knew that this was for my highest good. Intuitively, I knew that. So you listen, as I say, to your heart's intelligence, because it won't lie to you. Your left brain's intelligence will lie to you. It will guide you sometimes, but most of the time it will lie to you with all the old beliefs that keep you stuck. And so knowing that with God all things are possible, and really taking these spiritual truths that I speak about, that I teach, and living them, saying, I'm going to give them a try. Didn't work the other way, so let's try this way. So knowing that the universe will always support me and that God has my back. And not only does all things work together, and they do, just going back and just seeing how things, it's like watching a movie almost. Things are all fitting together. The universe conspiring, as Holmes would say, for my highest good. I could never have planned the incredible things that took place. No way could I have planned. But there was room, you see, because I transformed the fear and moved out of something that was totally unhealthy into a path that felt that I was in integrity with myself, and the good of God filled my life. It filled my life with limitless stuff. And I began Margaret's big adventure into living these spiritual truths and proving to myself that I had the faith and the trust that they do work. And they did. Yeah, Margaret's big adventure. I got a whole bunch of them, but we're only going to talk about one today. But the whole point of it is moving through our fear and having the faith, planting those seeds of faith, which I planted right then and there. Because fear can feel like a big, fat concrete wall. Smack and keep you stuck. That's the challenge we have. So if we start thinking of fear then, not as a concrete wall, but as a bubble, as like a membrane, just a thin membrane, then all we have to do to penetrate it is to go for it and take the first step through it. And then we see it's not real. It's really not real. It just feels real. But it's not reality of who we are. God did not create us as fearful beings. We developed that as human beings along the way. It's part of our journey. It's part of our journey. So I received the clear guidance to leave. And it did feel very relieving, but still there was a wall of fear to step through. And stepping through it. It's amazing. So then the faith deepens, the trust deepens even further. And that's for each and every one of us to know and remember that when we trust in this powerful good that we talk about, it's not just a bunch of words thrown around, it's a reality, it's a way of living life. And it makes your life so filled with joy, so filled with peace. Whoa, that was a brand new one, peace. But I had to get used to that. Wow, it's peaceful here. Whoa, wow, this is a whole new way of being. Peace. Never had that before in my entire life. But, so we remember, as I said to myself, you are divinely guided. You're always divinely guided if you but listen. Whatever's taken place, this is for my growth and my highest good. And go for it. Take the first step. Always we have to take the action step. Nothing's going to happen if we don't take an action step. And I have a picture up in one of my rooms, and it says, stand in your truth. And I love to see that. Whenever I walk by, it reminds me, stand in your truth. And that's what I invite each and every one here to do. Stand in your truth, your real truth. And you'll get through it. We'll all get through it. Because I'm sure right here, right now, there are many people in this room that have gone through situations in their lives, their own kind of personal hell, perhaps, you might have described it as. And right now we have a planet that is going through. It looks like it's going through its own personal hell. But we will get through it. The planet will get through it. For us, it's walking through, taking that first step, and then the next step. and we'll get through it, and we'll realize who and whose we are. We are a child of the divine. We have been created out of the nature of infinite energy, of God itself. And so when we pay attention, as Mary Morrissey says, notice what you're noticing. Notice what you are noticing. Expect the best, and then go for it. Go for it. Go for it. You've got to move forward in life. And to move forward in life, because that's the natural, we know the progression of the universe is to spiral upward. You must take that first step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And you can know that as you're taking these steps, that God is holding your hand the whole time. You are not alone. You are never alone. And that's very comforting to me, to know that God has my hand. Not only my back and my front and my insides, but my hand too. God, everything. But there is a power for good, not a power of duality, a power for good. Ernest Holmes wrote in Science of Mind, faith is ever the light of our day, and the light on our way, making the way clearly visible to us, even when to others it may be beset with obstacles and the ongoing rough times. And keep your eyes on me, Jesus told Peter. And as long as Peter believed he could walk on water, he did. Because the light of Christ within him believed it as well. It's only when he started to look at the waves beneath him and doubt, but some difficulty arose, and he became frightened and sank because he didn't listen to the Christ consciousness within him. We talk about Christ consciousness, and that was within him. He looked at the waves. And we, like Peter, sometimes in our lives, and it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing, because, as I said, life happens. So it's ongoing. We're invited to trust, even though all these different waves are coming up in our lives, to keep our eyes on love, to train ourselves to keep our eyes on divine love, and we will be upheld. We will be upheld. And so this morning, we plant the seeds of faith. Faith in the eternal goodness, faith in the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life itself. I want to leave you with this one short illustration this morning to bring this point yet home even further, because people seem to like stories. I do. Sometimes they help me to remember. A half century ago, a man was to walk a wire, this is a true story, across Niagara Falls. You might have read about it or heard about it, with another man on his shoulders. After weeks of preliminary practice, as the final moment for the event drew close, it drew near, and the rope warder cautioned his young accomplice these words. He said, "We are about to risk our lives. I am to walk the wire. The whole responsibility is mine. You have to do nothing but match my movements. Match my movements. If I sway to the left, you sway to the left. If I sway to the right, you sway to the right. If I under no circumstance try to save yourself, for there must be only one will in this adventure, and that will is mine. You must submerge yourself to ensure harmony. For without perfect unison, we both will be lost." Okay, this has actually happened. "There is only one thing for you to do," he told him, "and that is to sway with me." So as they drew near to the opposite side, the unexpected happened. It must happen in those situations. The long vibration, because everything's vibration, well, the wires started to vibrate, and they say it's a broken kind of a piece, I guess, when a vibration occurs, and so it split into two, and then it split more as vibrations do, and continues as the law of vibration does work, until it calmed down again. And at that point, when after the violent movements of this wire did calm down, and the man could scarcely keep his feet on the wire, it was a perilous moment, but the feat was accomplished. It was accomplished. He made it to the other side. They both made it to the other side. And it held a place on the front page of many newspapers. But after this, the man who had been riding on the shoulders settled down to a private life, married, and became a very active leader in his spiritual community. And the one thing he said was, I learned more religion on the wire that day than in all of my life. I learned the only sane and safe way to live is to sway with God. So that's for us to remember. Are you swaying with God, or are you in opposition? You know it because you feel it within you. If you feel resistance within you, if you feel conflict and chaos within you, you're not swaying, because the flow of life is in harmony with itself. So are you in harmony with yourself? Are you in the flow? And it's something to notice. Notice what you're noticing. And so I'd like you to repeat after me these words. For God has not given me the spirit of fear.
For God has not given me the spirit of fear,
but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. By myself, this is impossible. But with God, all things are possible. God means this for good. All things work together for my good. As I trust God, and live according to God's purpose. I have insurmountable faith in the perfect outcome of every situation in my life. Since God's infinite intelligence is in absolute control. And that's what you can plant that seed of, knowing that. Remember, this is your life. This is your dream. You get to choose. You get to choose how you want to live it. Do you want to live it in the power, the love, and the sound mind? Or do you want to live it in fear? Afraid to make a movement. Afraid to make a commitment. Afraid. It's your choice. And so for all of us to know, we are always at choice. And I would invite you to choose the love, the power, and the sound mind, because it's so much better than the latter. And so it is.